Guess what? It's back. So with rugby arriving back in New Zealand, this week, and with the thrilling game of Highlanders vs Chiefs, rugby seeming to be coming back into mainstream and back to being able to be played by professionals. Although in England it is postponed until start of August, with us continuing the rest of the season. But for that to happen, we do have to follow the roadmap that has been laid out. So, roadmap has been laid out in 6 parts, going A, B, C, D, and E, and F. So, currently we're at stage B, where small groups are allowed to train. But first up, let's talk about A. So this is where individual training can happen with one other person, so maybe a coach or a friend. Exercise with one other person. You have to maintain social distance, and no equipment sharing is allowed. So that just means that you're just going to have to train by yourself with the other person around. You won't be able to pass the ball around because they'll be sharing equipment. You'll just have to train with whatever you brought, and then they have to train with whatever they brought. With part B, where we are at now, is small group training. Is where we can exercise with up to 6 people, but also maintaining social distancing. No face-to-face, so no contact is allowed at this point, so not even touch, so you'll just have to train around. Equipment sharing is kept to a minimum, which means we can start passing the ball around, which we can see coming back, implementing into the training for the professionals. This means that they're slowly starting to build up their skills, and you can go out and play with your friends, at least passing the ball around, kicking around, catching it. Although no contact, so no replica matches like contact, tag, or touch. So, with part C is large group training and limited face-to-face close contact. So now this is group C, where we're trying to build up to. First up, you get to exercise with larger groups, so that means more people, bigger training, and possibly, and in fact, actually being able to train as a team together now, instead of just small groups of 6 people. So social distancing won't need to be required, potentially, and you can do close contact, which means that touch and tag are back up, so you can play around with your friends with that, or professionals can start playing tag, touch, or just practicing some sort of tackling, like tackle practice, but not full-on match yet. D is whole team training, so this is the upper echelon of decrease of social distancing and increasing in close contact. So you can now have tougher training sessions, so more chicken scratch, less touch, so you can just start building up your contact, start building up training up for the start of the season. Social distancing as well won't potentially need to be required at all times, and an increase in close contact exposure, which means just you can now be closer together for a longer period of time, which means you are allowed to now do the touches, tackles, like limited. E, whole team training. So this is now like preparing for the matches in August, which would be social distancing will not be required, so you can now full on have a match, training match, and unrestricted face-to-face contact and close contact, which means, and rugby contact could be permitted, which means that you can now go back to full-on training with proper match train, where you can then go and use contact, practice any skills that you need to, and really just come back as a team and prepare for your first match back. And F is just return back to match play, which is in August, where we'll be able to actually go and play against other teams, and where you could go and play against other teams, grassroots level, and where you could also go and play with your friends in the park. What could help lead up these 2 stages, help lead up the 6 stages going up? So, to get from A to B, will be individuals allowed to exercise with someone from another household, which has already happened. To get to B to C is where you'd have to have an expansion in numbers allowed to meet together, and equipment sharing is allowed. So that's already half. So we are at B right now. C to D is a further expansion of group size rules and relaxations of social distancing. And then you just have risk of rugby training, face-to-face contact. So that's basically you taking advance, like I will be doing some contact with them, which might expose me. So it's just you accepting that you will be in contact with people that might have it, might not. C to D is further easing of group size, so more people allowed, and the risk of rugby training face-to-face is lowered, so less people, the virus is out there less, which means more people can go out and play with their mates, train with a team. D to E, removal of social distancing, so that's when all of it's scrapped, meaning that people can now come together, so as a whole team can then go and exercise, play matches, train, and then to finally get back to match play is where all the rules of social distancing is removed completely, and the close contact exposure to the virus is very, very low, or if none at all, which won't happen in a while. So what do I feel like about what's going to happen with these? I feel like this is going to take a long time for the whole world to get back to normal, especially sports. Especially with a sport like rugby where contact is very predominant in it, and being close to each other, like for example in the scrum, it's going to take a lot of trying to change the rules just for the season, or maybe next one as well, where people don't have to be that close to each other. That way the virus doesn't have a chance to spread around. For example, in football, you're quite spread around, but in rugby, especially in a scrum, you have 16 people right next to each other, all breathing down their necks. So that really is going to be quite a hard time for the RFE to go and somehow find a way to get a compromise out of it. What else? Also, how to fit the whole season back in, because they want to resume the season in August, and for that to happen and to play off the rest of the games, it has a risk of running over into next season. Although they are thinking of starting the next season more in line with the Southern Hemisphere, that way that both seasons run parallel to each other. But for now, that's just a rumour, and not much is known what they really are thinking about it. Hopefully, everything is sorted out. But for now, this is all that we know, and for currently, we're just back at small group training, and for now is where we'll probably be at for quite a long time. If you like this video, go subscribe. I know it's quite a short video, but I just want to put my 2 cents into it, and just for you to see what's really been happening with rugby in England. Go subscribe, go like, comment, and follow me on Instagram to tell me any subjects you want me to talk about more in the future. See ya.